Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Baraka wa sallallahu wa sallam wa Ibrahim wa sallallahu Ibrahim wa baraka wa sallallahu wa sallam wa Muhammadin wa sallam Muhammadin sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, well, Islamic finance. This session has a few main points, going from an introduction to a markets in the economy, a foundation in the Islamic financial system, principles of Islamic financial system, differences between the Islamic financial system and the capitalist financial system, Islamic worldview, components of Sharia, status of actions and sources of Sharia, objectives of Sharia. Advocacy. Now, this is a map that is basically saying that financial markets interact with both the consumers and the businesses. And when they do, the consumers, units, main households, and the businesses, in turn, after the consumers talk to the labor market talks to the businesses, and the businesses go to the products market, and the flow of payment goes from the businesses to the labor market, and the labor market to the consumers, the consuming units to the products market, and it's a ever-ending circle. The Islamic financial system is a set of markets, institutions, laws, and regulations, techniques permitting the flows of the funds from the surplus units to the deficit units in the economy. A financial system that is based on Islamic principles, values, which eliminates riba and ensures a profit-sharing mechanism in the financial system. Being riba is an increase in a loan, such as interest. It may be characterized by the absence of interest-based financial institutions, transactions, doubtful transactions, when things are in doubt or there's a product that hasn't been created yet, or if it's not detailed in contract, like stocks of companies dealing in unlawful activities or unethical or immoral transactions such as market manipulation, insider trading, short selling, etc. The Islamic financial system is made up of instruments like deposits, products, financing products, and agents, institutions, as well as laws in Islamic law and positive law. The basic framework is Sharia, the main sources of which are the Quran and the Hadith, or Sunnah. They are prohibition of interest, principle number 1. Riba means excess, interpreted as any unjustifiable increase of capital, whether in loans or sales. Any positive fixed predetermined rate tied to the maturity and the amount of principal, guaranteed regardless of performance of investment. A general consensus of scholars is that it covers not only usury but also charging of interest as widely practiced. Principle number 2 is risk sharing, a relationship of investor with supplier of funds and not that of the creditors. Principle number 3, money as potential capital. Principle 4, prohibition of speculative behavior, no speculating. Principle 5 is the sanctity of contracts. Contractual obligations are very important in Islamic jurisprudence, and it is an important factor to disclose of information to reduce the risk of asymmetric information and moral hazard. Sharia approved activities are principle number 6, and that can be varied in many different ways, but it does actually have a pretty good structure. General principles of Islamic commercial law. Freedom of contract and mutual consent are the two priorities. And the things to avoid in general for both those things is riba or interest, garar or inconsistency or doubt, maisir, as well as illicit goods services such as things that are haram, like liquor or pork. General principles. Implications of applications of these principles is encouraged value-adding activities, reduction to the minimum of speculative activities, more justice, more discipline, more ethics. The differences between the IFS and CFS are it's a secular system with the CFS. The religion is not as a proponent of all the legal system. And with the IFS, it is a proponent of the legal system as well as the education system or any other system. Freedom of economic. In socialism, government enjoys economic freedom, but in capitalism, individuals enjoy freedom. Restrictive freedom is allowed in the light of Sharia, both by the government and or individuals. There's a few differences, but they generally are welfare of both here and the hereafter is one of the priorities of the IFS. There's interest in the CFS, and there is no interest in the IFS. Loan, overdrafting, cash credit, as opposed to mudaraba, musharaka, and murabah. Modern IFS justification is modern society's that existence of an efficient financial system is a necessity. The conventional financial system introduced in Muslim countries since the colonial period violates some of the Sharia rules. The modern IF aims to fill the gap. The istikaf is the Islamic worldview of Islamic Sharia-compliant peoples. The main priorities are an implicit contract for both an individual and a society, and the explicit contract between the individual and the society. Sharia Islamia. General considerations on Sharia definition. Sharia is the set of what is revealed to the Prophet ﷺ in the form of principles and laws prescribed by the Quran and the Sunnah, the dogmas and the actions of him ﷺ, and the legally responsible persons, the mukallaf, for their well-being and in this life and in the hereafter. General considerations on Sharia, components of Sharia. General components are belief, dealings, and morality. And they fall into categories of ibadah and muamala. And in Sharia compliant finance, it's economy that it goes directly to, such as issues in Islamic finance. Now, general considerations of Sharia status of the actions are considered haram, prohibited, makruh, reprehensible, mubah, optional, mandob, recommended, and wajib, obligatory. General considerations of Sharia fiqh and usul fiqh. Fiqh is the science of understanding the derived rules obtained from the specific sources. Usul fiqh is the science to derive legal rules from its sources, knowledge of the rule of interpretation. General considerations on Sharia, sources of Sharia. The primary sources of the Quran, the Sunnah, consensus, and analogy from those sources. We have secondary sources like public interest, debated well by scholars, and blocking the means of evil or moral contemplation. Urf, customary practice. Some cultures in the Islamic world adopt their cultures from their past, and as long as they don't conflict with the Sharia, they usually are okay with them. General considerations of Sharia. Object in Sharia. The objective of Sharia is to serve the interests of human beings, to save them from harm. Outlines the objectives of wisdom and prescribed Sharia in all its rulings to protect and preserve the benefits and interests of society. Is the benefits or interests which are deemed necessary from Sharia perspectives to protect and preserve the 5 basic essentials. General considerations of Sharia, objectives of Sharia. And we have sent you, O Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not but a mercy to the whole universe. The objects of Sharia. The objectives, maslaha, falls under wealth for preservation and promotion. The very objective of the Sharia is to promote the welfare of the people, which lies in the safeguarding of their faith and their life, their intellect, their prosperity, their posterity, and their wealth. Whatever ensures the safeguarding of these 5 serves public interest and is desirable. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.